Hello, Peter, and thanks very much for spending some time with BlueNotes today. You're out in Australia for a brief trip talking to a wide range of businesses. You've got some Gartner matters that you're talking about. But I think the thing that's really of interest is you're a data specialist. So can you tell us, why is data? We always hear now data is so important. Data is so important. Why?
Well, I think first to say data is actually not valuable in of itself. In many ways, data is important, but without actually having the tools to turn it into something valuable, it really does nothing for a business. Data, however, combined with analytic tools, is almost like a world of the future in which data is oil and the analytic tools is the combustion engine. And therefore the focus of organizations now is figuring out how do I build a strategy around my data. And that strategy centers around three levels of tools that extract the value from the data. One is obviously the analytic tools, which I just mentioned. The next level is algorithms, which is something that's very familiar to the financial services industry, because that's what we have in trading environments. But algorithms is pervasive in anything that we do that extracts value. And the third level is what we're seeing with artificial intelligence, is we're turning from passively changing the value of data into more programmatically and in some way actually with intelligence extracting the value without having human beings involved. So data is the foundation of organizations. In fact, that's what determines success, but you need the tools to do so as well. And that's those three levels that I talked about.
I mean, it's really interesting that data is a raw commodity like oil. It's obviously there. Banks have a huge amount of it. Like we know that there's a stack there. So the challenge then is to bring those three elements together, as you say. But how far down the track are large companies at the moment? They've all got their oil. Presumably some of them have started to build their engines and things. But are we very far down this path yet?
I think we're learning. I think we have a long way to go. Even in the financial services industry, that you would argue is founded on data. But what I think we need to do is to recognize the value, which means we actually have to place organizational responsibility for the strategy of what we do with data. And in the financial services industry, and certainly in banks, you are seeing the emergence of chief data officers as perhaps being individuals that are responsible for this. I think the risk and audit functions are becoming aware of the fact that there's a strategic value around data, but you have to place ownership, and I would say this is actually a business responsibility. It's the CEO's responsibility to say, how are we going to, in the future, extract value to change the business model of banking? Because this, I think, is a fundamental part of a proactive strategy against, for example, the fintech environment. Because part of the value of large-scale banks is that they have the full spectrum of data available, not just a sliver of a particular business area or a particular data set that serves the consumers or, for that matter of fact, businesses' demands, but the whole aspect. Getting order in it means that it is the responsibility of the business functions to understand that this is critical. It is not just a back office value proposition to streamline the internal operations of a bank.
Well, it's an absolutely fascinating field, and thanks very much for taking the time to speak with BlueNotes. So good luck with the rest of your trip in Australia, and thanks.
Thank you very much.